Well, hello, welcome back to the channel. I didn't know I was going to start a YouTube channel, but apparently I did. These are my vegetable gardens. One of the things that I get pleasure from is taking the weeds out. It's very relaxing. Very nice to do. And while I'm here, I'm going to go show you how I leave my garden. With dandelions and thistles, they have nice long taproots. This is a huge dandelion root. Dandelions are great for a lot of things. They're actually a medicinal plant. You can roast the root. The greens can be eaten, but actually this one's a little old, so I would say that's going to be really bitter. The flower heads can be eaten. The only thing that I don't know about is the stalk of the flower. But they're a medicinal plant and or an edible plant. They can just be edible, they can be medicinal. I like dandelions. I let them grow in my lawn. The previous owner of this house, for the neighbors, used to make dandelion wine. So they're everywhere, and I don't mind, and neither do my neighbors. So I don't live in a neighborhood where that's a problem. Dandelions are wonderful because of their deep roots. You'll see that if you have a lawn and you have dandelions in your lawn, the one thing that's very nice is that they will bring up nutrients, and they will also bring up moisture, so your lawn won't turn brown and go dormant in the summer as quickly as everybody else's. So it's kind of a nice thing. I don't mind dandelions. You can walk on them. They take the kids' foot traffic. So they're pretty nice. One of the weeds that I have in my garden is maple. It happens to be silver maple. Underneath the three giant silver maple trees in this part of the garden. They're great because they give me lots of leaves in the fall, and I can use them to cover up my beds. This bed previously was a bed that held borage. I have another bed that holds borage. I really like borage in the garden. The bees and the pollinators seem to really, really enjoy it. I do have one of those step-on dandelion pullers, but honestly, there's nothing better than the pot. It just recently rained, so that makes it, look at the size of the root on that. I've seen people roast it and then use it as like a coffee substitute. I've tried it a couple times. I tried to use it straight. I'd rather mix it in with my coffee if I had to. But you can just see the roots in this. There's actually more in here. I think I'm going to plant this bed with some raspberry plants. Raspberries can spread, so I have lots of raspberries in the back in the fields that are wild. They're nice, but they're not in my garden, so I don't always notice them and harvest them. But when I go into the fields and just ride around or walk around, I like to pick a couple. Usually my neighbor alerts me to tell me that raspberries are growing really well. So I'm going to find a lot of borage probably in this bed, and I might leave some of it if I find it. This is borage right here. You can tell because of that. I'll show you close up. It kind of has like a little fuzzy or a little hairy leaves, slightly. There's nothing like pulling weeds though. The only weeds that I don't leave in my garden are thistles. I don't use in my compost. I get a quick one on thistles. I tend to get on thistles as quick as I can. Look at the length of these roots. Just imagine how much moisture and how many nutrients it's bringing up to your lawn when you have these in your lawn. And like you said, kids can step on these. It's very forgiving. I'm always happy when I see dandelions in the yard. This is a whole patch here of borage, which I'm going to leave. So let it grow up through the raspberries this year. I'll come through and I'll weed it next year. This bed is a 4 by 8 foot bed. Which is one of the, I only have 4 of these, this size. Many of my beds are 4 by 16. And they're actually not 4 or 16 because the way they overlap on the corners. Short and fun. But since that's the lumber I use, that's what I call it. The dandelion. Sit next to the dandelion, push down, and pop up. You can usually hear them pop. This is a thistle. I don't like to put thistles into the yard. I don't think they sprout from their leaves, but I don't want to take chances. I had thistles in the compost and then ended up with a compost full of thistle, so I don't like to drop them into the Excuse my speech while I pause when I'm talking because when I get physical I just stop. Snail. I take the little snails and I just throw them in the lawn. They can eat lawn. And the birds are good. Tree. A couple years ago, the maple trees. People were commenting how they were seeding, like lots and lots of seeds all of a sudden. And from what I read, it happens every once in a while. The conditions are prime, the tree is prime, and it just happens. And that was a fun year because that's all I did was pull maple seeds out of the garden. Articles about getting dandelions out of your garden. And today I was just reading one, and I can't say so. I just read the article and I kept going. It was how to get dandelions out of your yard. But I gave a lot of credit to the person who wrote the article, because at the end, they actually talked about the benefits of dandelions. That was nice. I think dandelions get put down a little too much. From what I understand, dandelions are not native to North America. They're everywhere. They tend to like poor soil, actually. The nicer the soil, the less you'll see them. So I actually have less dandelions in my garden beds than I do in my lawn. My soil here is a very heavy clay. Most of these beds were filled with compost when I first did them. And I did that because I knew that earthworms and the other microbes would love it and dig up through. And my plants grew pretty well in it. But you can't grow in compost, as far as I understand, and as far as I've experimented forever. At one point, you just got to trust your soil. Top dress with a little compost. Put some mulch on. I'm using straw mulch this year. Got it inexpensively. Although nothing's inexpensive lately, but that's okay. At least I get to spend time with my kids. That's most important. And my husband. Relaxing. Think about cleaning this bed up and seeing the soil and removing the weeds. Now, I think I said this in a previous video. If I grew something like sunflower or peppers or tomatoes in the space, for me those plants are annuals. They won't survive my winter. They don't take the cold. They're more tropical plants. My vegetables. And those I will leave the roots in the ground. Weeds, on the other hand, are perennials, because they came back up from last year. Maybe they did reseed it. I do get some things I consider weeds that are reseeds from prior years. So you have to get the roots out. I find grasses are the worst. Those are the ones I actually don't like to pull, because grass tends to be very clumpy and very good at holding on to that top layer of soil. But once you get underneath it, it doesn't really hold as much as you think. Whereas your dandelions go deep, and that's why you have to push in, pull out. And you can sometimes hear that pop. That's why I say, pop goes the dandelion. Now, when I usually watch cleaning videos and lawn mowing videos, which are my favorite relaxation videos. Sometimes just turn the sound off, just watch them. So if you want to do that, I will not be offended. But if you learn something about my gardening, which gardening isn't that hard. It's mostly just getting out here, checking on things. The reason you remove the weeds is because weeds pull soil nutrients away from the plants you're trying to grow. So you want to get rid of them, move them, relocate them to the lawn or wherever, or even to the compost. You don't usually put weeds in my compost for the same reason I don't put thistles in my compost. Then I get more weeds. The weeds, if they flowered, have weed seeds. The roots, if they're not dead, will resprout. So I tend to not put the weeds in my compost. I tend to put the weeds on the lawn. Let them break down there. My husband loves to run things over with the lawnmower, I swear. I think it's secretly his favorite thing to do. It seems like instead of just mowing the lawn, he's mowing things. I don't know if he'll agree with that or not, but he does like he likes the solitude of mowing. He usually says to me, "I'm gonna go mow," and then he runs out the door. Before I get a chance to say, I wanted to. Yeah, that's okay. Right now, he's watching our son. You'll see sometimes I leave little pieces behind. I don't mean to, but honestly, I always like this theory: if you don't sweat the small things, the things come back and get them. You catch the weeds when they're small, and then you usually don't have to worry about them. So I'll come back again when they start to get a little bit bigger. They'll still be small, and I'll catch them. See, there's another borage, so I'll leave that. So you might see some greenery left. Some of it I'm deciding is borage and I'm leave it. Like I said, my pollinators love the borage. I discovered borage by mistake. I was ordering herbs and I came across it. I think it was a medicinal herb. I don't remember what it was. But I always like to try new things. And I did. I thought, oh, maybe I'll try. Oh, but the pollinators loved it so much I don't even want to touch it. It will reseed for me. I do not believe that it is a perennial. I believe it just reseeds. So if you've ever grown certain flowers that seems like you grew them once and now you grew them again, you've got them again. That's tomatoes that I like. I always said tomatoes are my biggest weed. I've got some beds that I never planted tomatoes in, but I put tomatoes in there, and then somewhere, not wanting to clean them out, I let them go. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of going underneath them, give it a pop up, and then you can get your fingers on them. And it actually, with weeding, you can see you're pulling the weeds. It looks like there's a lot of dirt in here, but it's not. Compared to what it was when I picked this up and this, it's not as much dirt as you think. Right now the soil is wet, so it's muddy, you would say. Although the raised beds are really nice because they do keep the soil rainy. Thank goodness I've never been flooded. Although I might call it that, it's not true. I literally just got a lot of it, that's all. A really good area here. We're in the suburb of Buffalo, New York. Yes, I get my snow, but it's really not that bad. It's a mild climate here. Milder one if you don't mind some cold days. Relatives in Florida, and they don't like cold at all. Like I'm out here on a 65-degree day, and I'm loving it. They're a 65-degree day, and they got coats and pants on. So, what you're used to. I tend to get colder in the fall than in the spring. In the spring, I just can't wait to get outside. In the fall, it seems like it's colder. I tried to grow raspberries here 2 years ago. This is mostly an entire tends to get hollow clover down. Now it's just babies, but they're just seedlings. But it's easy to pull them. Usually they slow down after the trees. So this is it in a nutshell. Let's get my two plants. I don't know how to get it in. So I have two things here. Which should probably opened up ahead of time. These are both raspberries. Raspberries can get. Oops, don't get them on. I did soak their roots a little bit when I got them. I dried them off and put them back in the bag. But I still got to eliminate that. This is a wild purple raspberry. It's up the side. See, it looks a little small on it. The other has the smaller stuff. Towards the inside garden. The little guy, his part's broken, so I'm just gonna take it off. There's quite a few little nodes on this. They're growing. See the little nodes? Should go perfectly fine. It's a little moist. I have to water it in. Although that would help to get rid of some of the air pockets. Air pockets tend to prune your roots. So what it means is your roots hit air and they just stop. They don't keep growing. I hope I see this. Wood shavings around that were part of the roots. Stand out better. This one here has some growth at the bottom. Don't see it at the top, but that's okay. Give them all a chance. Here are two kinds of paper. This one is a royal purple raspberry. This one is a double gold raspberry, so they will be different. These are the berries. Usually when I shop for things that tend to be sweetest in their descriptor. Really dry. How did I see this? Got some sprouting here. Am I a professional gardener? Nope. So if I do things wrong, I do wrong. Somebody can tell me. Perfectly capable of taking criticism. Stick out. There's little beans in there. I think that, from what I remember, raspberries like to sprout on their stem. That's why they spread and people don't like that. Okay. Doesn't look like much now. Hopefully. Fine. If not, try again. Oh, look it. Little friend here. Snail. Like I said, I throw them in the lawn. I really wasn't eating my garden plants, but in the lawn. That's it. This whole bed is done. I'll come back and lightly weed it. Okay, even if you don't have a lot of, mulch to use it sparingly. There's one there. There's it there. That's the raspberry that I planted. And in the same bed, you can see there's the other raspberry. Whoops. Sorry, there is a little garden statuary that I put in there. A little mushroom looking thing. It's not real. So they're planted in this bed. I gave it a little bit. The rest of the bed actually is growing borage, so I don't want to cover up the borage. I want to keep it. I'll come back and put some more straw in here. But when you don't have a lot, at least mulch around your plants to keep the moisture in.